No it don't! No it don't!
I'm going to start off by giving you a quick question. I'm going to ask you this. Find the equation of the tangent line to the function f of x equals to 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 at the point x equals to 1. I'm going to pause it and let you start off with this question. Go. So if you remember correctly, what I taught you to do was I want the equation tangent line. So what a lot of you did was you go lim as h approaches 0 of f of a plus h minus f of a over h. Plug it in and solve it. So if I plug this in, you should have 2 times a plus h squared plus 3 times a plus h minus 1. Here's where you gotta be careful. Minus, I like to use brackets, 2a squared plus 3a minus 1 all over h. Go ahead, expand, simplify. And I want you to carry it all the way through the sum. I want you to find the equation. See, what you did was you took something called the limit. And you did 2a squared plus 4ah plus 2h squared plus 3a plus 3h minus 1 minus 2a squared minus 3a plus 1 all over h. Now, we just played a game of crossing things out. I'm going to cross out this 3a with this 3a. A squared is gone. The 1 is also gone. So what you have is 4ah plus 2h squared plus 3h all over h. Now the h's cancel out. So what you're really left with is 4a plus 2h plus 3, which really becomes 4a plus 3. Okay? But that's not what the question is asking. The question is asking, find the equation of the tangent line. So this is only partially done. I'm going to pause. So if I plug this in, and you should have your m should equal to 7 because we let a equals to 1. So you have y equals to 7x plus 3, Karan, is that right? Oh, minus 3. Okay. Now, what you did was you did something called limit approach. So I'm going to write down that again. So this is my limit. I'm going to teach you how to modify this limit a bit. Lim as h approaches 0, f of a plus h minus f of a over h. See, this is such a unique formula that they actually came up with a name for it. This, I can rewrite this. Instead of writing a, I can use x. Because a and x is really the same thing. Okay, x plus h minus f of x over h. Because really I said a was h. Sorry, it was x. Now, I can rewrite this using a fancy symbol. This is known as the derivative. So all this time, what you're doing is you're doing the derivative. Okay. The fancy way of writing derivative is called f with a little quotation on top. We know as this is called f prime. F prime. Okay. You're going to see that symbol a lot. So that is known as f prime. So if I give you this question, y equals to x squared minus 8x. I asked you to find y prime. Go. I'm going to pause it. See, when I'm asking you to find y prime, really, I'm asking you to do what to do is find the slope of the tangents, which means I'm using one of these equations. Some people like to use a plus h. For now, I'm going to use this new formula. Only difference is, because I'm working with x, I'm going to leave it as x instead of a. So what I'm going to do is I go lim as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Plug it in and figure it out, guys. If I plug it in and figure it out, I'm not going to do all the steps, but you should have x plus h all squared minus 8 times x plus h minus x squared minus 8x over h. Lim as h approaches 0, which should give you 2x minus 8. That's correct. See, notice I'm not looking for an answer this time. I'm looking for an equation, because that's what y prime is. Y prime is an equation. Try this one. F of x equals to 1 minus x over 2 plus x. Find f prime of x. Okay, same concept. F prime really means what is the slope of the tangent line. Instead of writing all that, now I'm going to use another term. It's called f prime term. It's the same thing as you've been doing over and over again, given a new technique. Start. So if I'm looking for f prime, what I'm really looking for is lim as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Now we're going to play the game of subbing it in. That gives you 1 minus x plus h. Again, are you going to use brackets? Over 2 plus x plus h. Minus 1 minus x over 2 plus x all over h. I'm going to pause it right here and show you the next step, so in case you're lost. I'm going to simplify, and this becomes 1 minus x minus h over 2 plus x plus h minus 1 minus x over 2 plus x over h. Okay. I'm going to worry about the common denominator, which is these two together, this and this. And go ahead and find multiply by common denominator, and you'll get, this it gets a bit tricky, 2 plus x times 1 minus x minus h minus 1 minus x times 2 plus x plus h all over 2 plus x plus h 2 plus x all over h. I'm going to pause it. So if I were to expand this whole entire thing out, here comes the tricky part. You should have this. This should be 2 minus 2x minus 2h plus x minus x squared minus xh. Xh. Minus. Now, I'm going to put this in brackets because it's going to help me out later. 2 plus x plus h minus 2x minus x squared minus xh. All over h times 2 plus x times 2 plus x plus h. Okay. I'm going to simplify, and really when you simplify it becomes something really nice. What it gives you is negative 3h over h times 2 plus x plus h times 2 plus x, which really becomes negative 3 over 2 plus x squared. And that's my answer. Okay. Now, Simon saying, so how do I need this in real life? Here's how. We're going to take this concept and apply it to an actual question, and that will wrap up this lesson. Try this for me. I'm going to steal this from your book, if I can find it. The position of a particle is given by the equation f of t equals to 1 over 1 plus t. T is measured in seconds. S and S in meters. Find the velocity. At 2 seconds. I gotta pause it. If I think about this question, what this question is really asking is this. This here is distance, which is correct. This goes back to physics, actually. Let's draw this distance versus time graph for me. Okay. F of t really is called distance, dt. Back in physics, your teacher taught you how to find the velocity at any given time. Let's say this is my graph. I'm going to make it random up. And your teacher asks you, what is the velocity of this particle at this time? Any physics here? How do you find the velocity of that? Yep. You're going to find the slope of the tangent. Because the slope of the tangent right here gives you the velocity. So what this really is asking you is the slope of tangent equals to velocity, according to Physics 11. That's why you've been doing the slope versus time graph. Then, so if I want to find the slope of the tangent, would you agree slope of tangent equals to f prime of t? Because slope of the tangent is known as doing the limit approach. And the limit approach is also known as f prime of t. So this is known as f prime of t. So really, find f prime of t for me. Go. So f prime of t equals to, I'm going to use that formula again. Lim, as h approaches 0, of f of, and you continue on. Go. So I'm going to plug it in. I'm not going to do this whole entire thing because you should know it by heart by now. X plus h minus f of x over h. Plug it in and you should have 1 over x plus h minus 1 over x over h. You should have the equation is going to be, what's the equation? 1 over, what is it? Squared? Height. So now, this is the equation for, is it negative? Negative. Negative 1 on top? Yep, so negative's here, so fine. So this is the equation for f prime of t, which is also known as the equation for velocity. So when you see physicists say f prime of t, what they're really talking about is the velocity of a particle. Plug it in for x equals to 2, and you should have negative 1/9. That's your velocity. So I want you to write this down for me. F of t equals to position. F prime of t equals to velocity. Easy. So if I take the derivative of position, I get velocity. Here's a question. What does f double prime of t give you? What if I give you take the derivative of velocity? Any physicists here? That's actually acceleration. So if you did physics before, acceleration, and you're asked to draw a velocity versus time graph and take the slope of that, you get acceleration. Next thing is, let's know what happens beyond triple derivative. This is f triple prime of t. What is that? It's acceleration, which is, who knows? I don't know. You're not supposed to know. I don't know what it is. Universities. What derivative did they have to? They have to about 4 or 5. You should be able to do this. So if I ask you to do this, good luck with this question. Here is your supernova question for today. F of x equals to 4x cubed. Whew. Should I use cube or squared? Yeah, some of you are groveling like this little babies. It's so hard. 99 problems. Oh, speaking of that, I need a t-shirt color, guys. I need a t-shirt order by today. We have to finalize it by today because tomorrow's I need to collect money for tomorrow. Minus 10. 99x. After lunch, someone remind me about the color, please. What is f double prime of x? Ooh. Good luck. The answer for this. I've seen many rows have different answers. There's actually 3 answers I saw. But the answer for this is going to be 8. Now, if you don't have that, I can show you how to do it later. But I want to go over one more thing. I just realized there's one more big thing I have to go over with you before we wrap up for lunch. How to graph f prime of x. How to graph f prime x. And this is extremely confusing for a lot of people because the concept, numbers you can work with, easy. Somebody say, Mr. Give me an equation, I can give you what f prime is. But what if I ask you about concept? So here's what it is. I'm going to give you a grid. We're going to draw a grid right now. And this is where concept begins. We'll try to draw it, so make it even. I'm going to give you a graph. The graph looks something like this. This is f of x. I'm going to ask you sketch f prime of x. First thing a lot of people ask is, Mr. Don't you need an equation? Because how do I do this without an equation? This is where concept begins, and this is where a lot of people will lose marks because they don't understand the concept behind this. The best way to do this, I want you to draw an empty grid right beneath it, and it's going to match exactly the way it is. Okay, this is my own special little trick. We're going to draw an empty grid right below it. The concept lies in, what does f prime really mean? Okay, this is where people get confused. F prime really means slope of tangent line. Okay. So in this equation, what you have, we're going to label this f of x. Okay. So this is the key point. Labeling is the key point. This is x. we're going to call this f prime of x. We'll call this x. If I look for the slope of tangent line, the first thing I should focus on is where on this graph is my slope 0. I want you to put points on where do you think the slope of the tangent line is 0. I'm going to pause it, let you figure it out. Slope will be 0 here, here, and here. Now some of you say, Mr. why is that? Well, if I look at the slope of the tangent line, it's going to be a horizontal line right here. Horizontal line means 0 slope. 0. So that's the first thing we do. Now, here comes a tricky part. We're going to take this concept, we're going to apply it to my f prime. So here, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to convert it directly, drop here, right down. So the slope, the value of this point is now here. I want you to put a red dot here. Because f prime, that's where 0 is. That's where the slope equals to 0. This point right here, I'm going to draw it all the way down. So drop it right down. You're going to drop it like it's hot. Okay? All the way down. And look at this one. Well, this one, the slope is 0. So which is right here. That's the first key thing we do. Remember, this graph is about the slope. It's not about value. That's where people get confused. If I look to the left, slightly around here, of this red dot, it's all about the slope. You got to figure out, is the slope positive or negative? Yep. Slope. That's what you got to figure out. Is the slope positive or negative for the yellow line? Okay. Paulo, positive or negative? Negative. I don't care about the value because there's no value to begin with. So, because it's negative, this is about slope. Here is where I have a negative slope value. So this goes like that. Okay. So I'm going to match the color up. Negative. So this is negative. I'm going to do the next one. What would this look like? Okay. So I'm going to do this, we'll do this blue piece right here. Figure out the blue piece. So notice one thing. It starts out positive, 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 and then slowly gets to 0. Draw in the blue piece here for me. I'm going to pause it. If I think about this, the slope is positive, positive, and slowly the slope levels down to 0. So if I look at this, it starts positive, 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 and then it slowly levels to 0. That's what it looks like. Guys, do the next piece on yellow, the green piece. And then if you want, try the purple piece. So what does it look like? Okay. Ask yourself, look at the slope. Positive or negative, and what happens as it approaches red dot? If you're lost with the green piece, watch what happens. I notice my slope here is negative. It's negative, negative, but it slowly goes back to 0. So somehow my slope is going to be negative, and then it goes back to 0. So this is the green piece right here. So yeah, just a little bit of color coordination. It's negative, negative. Now some say, Mr. but what about here? That's positive slope. Guys, this is everything below here means negative slope. Above this line is positive slope. And then the rest of it is just easily positive slope. Goes something like that. And that's the purple piece. That's how you graph it. You draw a grid right below it. And the key is you want to find where your horizontal slope is going to be. That's it for today. Your work. Page. And you're going to do this after lunch. And I'm going to have my circle of knowledge. 134. Numero. Nine. A. Yep. 13. 2. 17. You're only going to do odd. 25. Then you're going to do page. 144. You're gonna do numero. 1, 4. Hi. You have the solutions online for that. 5. And 17 to turn 5 odd. That's it. Okay. Again, that ends your lesson for today.